Here we go. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. That's kind of frightening.
That was a nice video intro right there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 97. All head bobbing to the beat. Episode 97 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true heroes of the storm. I'm your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmozord, but you can call me Gizmo. And on this week's episode, some more changes coming right before HGC kicks off, along with casting announcements, as well as new info on the Open League. And we discuss a hero with a permaban for constantly trolling the Nexus. In this week's Hero of the Week, it's Zul'jin week. Not making that mistake this week, although the show is young, so there will probably be a Vol'jin in there somewhere. But of course, joining us, as always, are some more of the Zord Lords themselves. More of the Zord Lords themselves. First up, we have Mr. Kevin Ellis, a.k.a. Multi-Zord. Multi, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. My face hurts a little bit from all the smiling, but I'm excited to talk about some Zul'jin. He is an actual internet troll. He is a troll on the internet.
It's true. It's very true.
Fact.
And we also, as always, Mr. Ryan Reeder, a.k.a. TBK Zord. TBK, how are you doing this evening?
Good. I'm doing really good. Really excited to talk about all the cool stuff we got.
It is
today. I said this earlier. It pays to have a Wednesday podcast.
It does. We totally plan
Blizzard
that.
seems to release all the good stuff by Wednesday. Not all the time, but 90% of the time. So good job, Blizzard. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we totally planned that whenever we totally knew what we were doing when we started a podcast.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely. Totally. Wednesday nights, huge news nights. Let's do it. But, guys, we have joining us for the second time. He is a co-host on The Cavalry along with Multi, a good friend to the show, and the OG Zord Lord. Once again, it's Mr. Matthew Zorns, a.k.a. Slambo. Slambo, how are you doing this evening?
What's up, nerds? And I guess thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I love the show, so I'm so glad to be back. And I'm having my rebirth, my renaissance of Heroes of the Storm. So it's a very good time for me to come back and hang out with you guys and talk about the game that we love.
Yeah, and as soon as Zul'jin was announced, Multi was like, all right, got to have Slambo back on. He's been waiting, so absolutely.
This is a long time coming. You guys know, even back from the OG Zord days, as you said, I was playing a troll. And every time I've played WoW, I've played a troll. And every character I've made has been a troll. And I don't know, it's been my thing. So this is the first troll to hit the Nexus. And again, I've been waiting.
Well, as soon as they announced him, you were just like, dude, that's all I want to do. I don't even know what his kid is yet. I don't care.
I didn't care. And actually, I think I commented today, is like, I don't care what his kit came out like or what his win rate was right away on the boards. I was just going to play him every game ad nauseum. So that was, I'm glad that he worked out pretty well, no spoilers, but it's definitely, it could have been worse. Could have been way worse.
Yeah. For sure. And as we typically do, we kind of waited a week here after release to kind of give us some time to fiddle around with them before we settled into a build that we wanted to bring you all. But we will, of course, get into that later in the show. But quick test trivia here, Mr. Slambo. Do you remember what hero?
On the spot.
What we were doing last time you were on the show?
Oh, God.
Because I don't either. Does anybody?
Was it Zarya? Did we talk Zarya?
No, it was much earlier than
Yeah.
Zarya.
No, it's
Yeah,
earlier than
God.
that.
Wow, that was like trivia that no one knew the
I know.
answer to. So it wasn't just me on the spot. Like you legitimately wanted to know the answer to
I
that
did.
too.
You know how many?
That's-
You know how many episodes we've done? 97. That's how many we've done.
I'll
I
go
wanna
to the
s-
feed and I'll Control F for him. We'll find this out.
I
Okay.
want to say
So-
that we didn't necessarily do a hero. I thought we really just covered more of the changes that have came like for season 1. It
That
was
may
launching.
have been it. That
I
may
think
have
that
been
was
it.
what it was.
But
so.
while Multi stealthily finds that information, we're going to stall with just how have you been and what have you been up to just in gaming in general? Because you've had a lot going on since last time we had you on.
A lot, yeah. And geez, right now, I guess the biggest thing for me, of course, is Overwatch. You know, from the cavalry with multi, so I still play a ton of Overwatch. I'm hitting a goal that I set this season almost. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm pretty close. And I'm going out of town here soon, so I've got a very limited window to fit my Overwatch in before my internet is much worse. But and I mean, I don't think this is a bad thing, but HOTS is a game that you can play on not as a stable connection and doesn't feel as bad as an FPS does, right? An FPS is
Yeah.
quite responsive and irritating. So I've been trying to cram in a lot of Overwatch, but in the meantime, I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Moon. You know, I'm really slow on it, but I really just enjoyed it. Go through and fill out the Pokedex and like really take my time in each zone or each island in this version of the game. And then, with right before Zul'jin came out, I did the Nexus Challenge for HOTS. I expected to do just the 15 games, get my Oni Genji skin, and get out of Dodge. But I ended up kind of remembering what I fell in love with HOTS for a long time ago. I played it competitively, I think, for a while, and that may have made me forget my roots or whatever. But I did the Nexus Challenge, got the 30 games. I've been playing since, and now Zul'jin's out, so it's just been a waterfall of HOTS. And I've been neglecting Overwatch this week, sadly.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things to hear out of the Nexus Challenge. It was something obviously Heroes was hopeful for, but we didn't really know how much it would stick, if it would really interest, for people who played first-person shooters. Obviously, you had played Heroes before, and it brought you back, but I know we were playing games before the show, and you had mentioned how it brought some of your friends over from Overwatch to Heroes, which is awesome. So
I think I even no hyperbole is what I said. 4 or 5, like there was legitimately 4 or 5 different individuals that were like, "Whoa, HOTS is a good game.
Yeah.
HOTS is actually fun. I've been a League player for 3 years, and I always thought HOTS was going to be stupid, but it's different. It's fun. It's kind of the same stuff that we were going through when we were playing Alpha like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we were all there. We're like, guys, this is actually fun. Can you believe this? And it's different, guys. It's not the same, but it was just weird that it did work. And there were 4 or 5 people that absolutely, and my friends list, by the way, there's a lot of people playing HOTS.
yeah.
And there was a period about 2-3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, where it wasn't the case. Maybe that was the WoW craze and Overwatch, but Legion itself.
Okay, I found the episode. I found the episode.
Oh, did I stall long enough? I did good.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was episode 51, titled "The Zord Lord is in the House," and it's just looking in the notes. It was literally tournament talk. Heroes of the Dorm was going on. Just state of the matchmaking blog, some patch notes, and then actually that's one of those original Dreadnought maps breakdowns.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was it. No hero, no nothing.
That was
so.
back in February
Yeah.
of last year. So it's been almost a year.
Almost a year. And
Almost
technically,
Half
I
our
remember
life.
it the most. So do I win the trivia challenge?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's how that went.
Yeah. You win an honorary Zord title.
This is our really lame ripoff version of Next Jeopardy.
So yeah, and I know you've been casting in Overwatch, and
a little bit.
were able to cast an awesome Reddit tournament that was hosted.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
That was, yep. So yeah, it's true. I guess there hasn't been anything lately, but yeah, I've got a couple opportunities. There's like this one staff out there that really enjoys the Overcasters. So when they run an event, they don't care what big names come in. The organizers like, we want the Overcasters, and it's a really good feeling. Even to have just kind of that loyalty from that one tournament organizer or company, but hopefully just trying to get out there. But it's a really aggressive time, and I've tried to talk to Super Jova from Chair League, which is relevant later, and he's starting to possibly do an Overwatch division for that. So hopefully something can come from that. Try to find something stable for us to do weekly. But we will
That'd be cool.
keep trying.
sure.
If nothing else, I'm going to keep playing the hell out of Overwatch and having a good time. So
Fair enough. Well, how about Multi? How about you? What have you been up to in gaming as of late?
I've been trying to push the Hearthstone ladder, actually, pretty hard. I'm still only 8, which is kind of far behind for being the 11th already, for me anyway. I've hit 5 on I think it was 9th was the earliest I ever did. And it's a struggle, man. Like, there's some stuff going on in that ladder. And the funny thing is, all the top decks kind of rock, paper, scissors each other.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, you'll get a really good win rate against Miracle Rogue, but then get smashed by Dragon Priest, or vice versa if you switch to something else. So, it's been a challenge, but it's been pretty fun. At least it's people are keeping it fresh on there and everything, so that's cool. But yeah, I've been doing some heroes as well, of course. A little bit of Zul'jin, a little bit of whatever. I'm still trying to level up Rag when I can, but tough to do when you're just hopping in hero leagues and stuff like that as well, trying to finish up the placements there. So, but it's all been good.
Yeah, I didn't realize how long it's been since I've actually gotten a master skin, because they started doing these quicker releases, and it's like I don't have the time to crank that out before the new hero is released now, and it's unfortunate because that's why I have so much gold. TBK, how about you? What have you been up to?
Lots of heroes, of course. Been playing some Team League stuff. Something I'm hoping to do a lot more of, prepping for Chair League, which we'll talk about here pretty soon from the casting side of things. And then aside from heroes, I split my time a little bit because I went super crazy in December with just heroes, tons of heroes, and it was amazing. But now I'm doing some Civ 6, which is actually pretty fun. I'm also doing some Total War Warhammer, which is also fantastic. If you like Total War games, it's literally the best Total War game. So good. And so I'm splitting my time kind of between those two and heroes right now.
Very nice, very nice. Well, for me, man, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last week, but since Thanksgiving, life has just been so crazy, so my game time has been limited. So I'm pretty much at this point, just whenever I have game time, just heroes. Really been enjoying Vol'jin. I know I talked about how I'm pretty darn bad with aggressive heroes.
Vol'jin?
Dang it.
The Shadow Hunter?
I didn't even make it
I'm gonna do
past
this
our
every time.
No,
Every
man.
time you do it,
intro.
I'm gonna do
No,
it.
man.
Zul'jin. I didn't. That's upsetting. Not really. And now I lost my train of thought. I wasn't good with aggressive heroes besides Kerrigan, and I'm getting better. I really am, and I think because I play mostly quick match and solo queue, I have found, along with the help of Dixo and Reddit and stuff, some changes that kind of help out with the whole solo experience, especially as Zul'jin. There we go. But let's go ahead and hop on into the show here. TBK, what do we got going on in store sales?
Actually, a ton of stuff. So this week we've got Tracer and the Spectre Tracer skin on sale, and the Demonic Ariel skin, which is actually fantastic. If you're a big Ariel fan, you should get this skin.
Nice skin.
Mm-hmm.
Good skin.
It's a really good skin. And then we've actually got 2 new skins that we saw in an in development video not too long ago when Zul'jin was just getting teased. It's the Luxorian Knights bundle, the Dream Genie Chromie, and the much sweeter looking Bronze Tiger Karazim.
Yeah.
Easily the best Karazim skin, like bar none. Like this is an amazing Karazim skin, and the only reason I haven't bought it yet is because I hadn't thought of it. And so,
Unpopular.
Until now.
but
now that I have,
Yeah, I'm just.
it might happen while we're doing the podcast in the background.
Maybe.
It's really good though.
I'll have to take a look at the skin tints further on that skin, just because it's the Dragon Ball Z skin tint is just too good. It's too good.
Avatar.
Yeah.
A Vader. You're saying that wrong again. It's a Vader.
Last
Vader.
Burner.
I've been telling you guys for years how to say things.
And for those of you who, like me and Gizmo, have tons and tons of gold burning a hole in your pocket, if you have that, and if you did not get the 2014 BlizzCon Nexus Charger. So it's the Nexus-y version of a horse. It is now on the store as a gold mount for 30K.
You could say it's the Nexus version of the horse.
I mean, you could, but I would.
Nexus.
So this is interesting.
It
And
is. It's weird.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think Blizzard has ever gone back and re-released something that was a BlizzCon special. And the reason I
right.
think they're doing this is because they want something for people to spend gold on, because everyone has so much right now.
Because we talked about the possible loot tab coming,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know what's necessarily going to be attached to it. But this definitely feels like some sort of an in between. Crap, we just need to get something out there that people can spend money on, and in some ways it makes a lot of sense, because this was probably a very hard to get mount. You had to get the BlizzCon 2014, and this is back when the game was in like tech alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a ton of people that even got the chance to get this mount, let alone, be in the tech alpha when it was out. So I can understand the reasoning, and 30K, I mean, this is the most expensive gold mount we've seen in the game so far.
And it's
not
it's that good of a mount, to be honest.
It's cool. It's kind of cool looking.
I agree.
I
mean,
I kind of like it.
It's more of a collector's piece.
Yeah.
It's a token.
Yeah.
It's like a piece of history, and that's where the value comes in. Because paying 30,000 for that, it's tough. Like
it would be.
You really got to be a completionist or something to get use out of that. So.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's nice that they're giving something for the gold people who have a ton to spend gold on. I would like to see a little more than this.
I just would have rather seen them bring
Give me
back
the treasure goblin back.
Yes, I would have rather seen them bring that back, just because, like I said, they don't do this with BlizzCon stuff. This is for people that were, either at BlizzCon or bought the virtual tickets, and that's kind of like a badge of honor type thing.
Right, and it takes away from that exclusivity a little bit too. So, I mean, now when you see that mount, you don't know what to think. You might think it's someone crazy enough to spend 30,000 gold on it.
Yeah.
And honestly, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, are we really gonna sit there and be like, I don't know if you're like a hipster Nexus Charger, or if you're, if you're new to the party. So
OG Nexus Charger.
I don't really know. I don't know if we're really gonna have that conversation before the match starts or anything.
No, let's do it. Let's have a match right after.
Let's start doing this.
If there were any mount for them to do this with, it would be this one, just because this was back in tech alpha, and there's a lot fewer people playing then. And it is a gold sync, so if you don't have it, got a ton of gold, now you have something to spend some gold on. Hopefully we'll see more, and hopefully we'll see, whatever the next real solution for the gold sync is with whatever the loot tab is.
We did just say we wanted more gold syncs in all fairness. So and I mean, this was already
it's a stop
in the game, and why not?
It's opening the possibility to more. They're showing they're willing to do it. Maybe they're testing it out to see how many percentage of accounts are buying it, and if people purchase it, they may be like, well, look, there's a market out there for this value of item. We had way more of the percentage of the population buy it, so they may be testing the waters too. Blizzard's known to do that, from time to time, pretty aggressively. So it could be that.
For sure.
And so, speaking of Heroes of the Storm, how'd you like that segue? Because we talked about Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. All the heroes are going to be free this weekend. And speaking of gold, you can make a lot of gold this weekend, especially if you have a stim pack, because with all the heroes free, remember, even if you don't own them, you can get them to level 5 and still get that 500 gold off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also
and learn how to play them.
Yeah, this is a great chance to try out some of the ones you don't own and see if you like the playstyle or not. So be careful in quick match this weekend. It's probably going to be a little ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of Zul'jin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Ragnaros.
A lot of
There's
Lost
already a lot of both of
Vikings
those.
and Murky and
There's going to be
Abathur.
some weird comps. There's going to,
Yeah.
weirder than usual. There's going to be some weirder than usual comps. So just keep that in mind when you quick match this weekend. Okay, I'm done. That's it.
Well, speaking of hero rotation, just keep the segues on rolling here. Multi, what do we got in the free hero rotation this week, which really isn't going to matter except for a few days?
Yeah, it's just a few days worth. But, if you are listening to this the day it comes out, then that's good because, that's really your only chance Thursday to benefit from these characters, which are Lili, etc., Leoric, Tychus, Thrall, Gazlo, Karazim at 5, Jaina at 7, Anubarak at 12, and Abathur at 15. So for those of you that want that Abathur in your quick match all the time, like you're going to have over the weekend as well, you can have it now too, for sure. And I did want to shout out at this moment actually to Sardonic, friend of the show on the Discord all over the place, because he shared with us in the Discord an MVP in which he got legendary. That's 10 votes going toward him. All 5 on his team, all 5 on the other. And it's pretty well justified because, it was a little bit longer of a game, 32 minutes, but 364,000 siege damage and way, way above everyone else in XP contribution. So if you are level 15, just hop in our Discord and ask him how to play because he'll tell you.
Yeah. Take notes. Bring your notepad, folks.
Yep.
Gonna get learned today. So interesting hero rotation there, but again, you're gonna get them all this weekend for 4 days? Yes, 4 days. Real quick here, actually, before we move on into our poll that we ran on Twitter, what are your all's opinions on the brawl this last week? The Mage Wars. I don't quite remember the name of it. Did you guys like it? Did you get all 3 games in? TBK?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty fun. I was a little dubious of the inclusion of Nazebo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't think he fit, honestly. And if they brought Mage Wars back again, I would like to see him removed from it. Especially because he has a talent at 13 that allows him to take significantly less ability damage.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes if the cards fell the wrong way and the enemy team had like 3 Nazebos and you had all casters, by the end of the game they could get pretty dang tanky and almost impossible to kill. Otherwise, go ahead.
Nazebo's siege damage is pretty well up there as well. And when you get that bonus to the siege, I've got to think that's impactful. I heard one complaint. It didn't really happen to me, but it seemed like some people were complaining that the winning team had the most Nazebos.
Yeah. I think
it happened a lot.
I think the reason they included him, because I definitely thought it was weird too, was the fact to try and just keep the games at a reasonable time. Because now the other mages have great pushing power.
The thing is, though, spells did double damage against buildings and against any structures. And for some reason, I don't think people understood that.
That's true.
Because I played Gul'dan, and I actually took his Reign of Destruction ult. You're like, what? Reign of Destruction? You could literally go up to either a fort or a keep structure, drop Reign of Destruction, and annihilate the entire thing in one cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing. And people just didn't realize it. Like Li Ming orbs, I took out a keep as Li Ming in 10 or 15 seconds, later into the game, while the enemy team was distracted just by chucking orbs and missiles at it.
And that's a good point
too.
People
made the games go way longer than they needed to because they didn't understand that their spells were doing so much more damage, and they turned it into kind of like they just played it like a regular game. They got the web weavers, they pushed with the web weavers and stuff, and normally that's fine, but they had the rules changed, and so I think personally removing Nazebo from that lineup and then making it a little more clear that spells do so much damage to buildings would be good. That would make it perfect. I had some fun games of it, but
it sounds to me like
real quick. The only reason I said that is because my first 2 games were like 10-minute games, and there were Nazebos on both sides. My last game I played, where neither team had a Nazebo, was 42 minutes.
That's pretty brutal.
42 minutes. And
but
I will admit,
were they not pushing very well? I mean,
I did not know about the 200% thing because I just kind of skimmed through that list of tells you what's going on with this brawl. I was like,
you have to click
mages,
the little icon
cool,
down there,
that's awesome. I'm gonna play it, and I didn't read that. If I had known that, yeah, it would have been pushing harder. So, read the notes on the brawls if you take anything away from brawl this week, for sure.
Good point.
Also, 4 Li Mings on the enemy team, when you do not have 4 Li Mings, is very bad because that is 4 resets anytime anybody gets a kill, and you will lose very badly.
Fair enough. I didn't get any of the 5v5 like all same character. A 10 Li Ming would have been pretty nice on there. Zorns, have you checked out any of the brawls or anything?
Yeah.
Since you've been back in
Yeah.
Heroes?
The brawls is actually because I was trying to save up for Zol Jin. I didn't know if he was going to cost 15K or 10K, and I had just bought I want to say I forget what hero I had bought, but I had just dropped 10K on a hero. Like whatever, I don't care. And then I was like at 0 gold, so I was really playing a ton to have money when he came out. And so the brawl was one of my main sources of income. So I love that they implemented that. I know it's been implemented since I've been on last, and I like that form of income, but it's real hit and miss on the brawl.
Yeah.
Sometimes the brawl is actually super fun and I want to play it again. And sometimes I'm like, can I just get a queue quicker so I can just get this over with? And it's weird to kind of feel that way. Either way, I'm still doing it. I don't refuse to do it. But this one specifically, I agree that it's like no one knew that it dealt bonus damage, and until you said it, Ryan, I was like, yes, that was it. I didn't really realize it because our game it was like 2 Nazebos on each side. It was balanced on the Nazebo scale, and that was true that the guy wrote, "Pick Naz if you have him," and I'm like, really? Like why? And he's like, the damage reduction. So. But we were balanced in that front, but it just felt like everyone wanted to play the team game. If one person got killed, both teams would want to reset, go back to base. And I'm like, what do you like? Let's fan out here. Let's all pretend you guys are Zagara and Zul and Sylvanas and just split push and just take down buildings on your own.
Yeah.
But no one understood that, and it was frustrating. So I feel like if I just give it, if I play it today or tomorrow or Friday, more people are maybe educated on it, and it might go a little better. But I still have to do 2 more, so I've got to get it done. So
I got to finish mine too. I'll join you.
Maybe
we'll do one after the game.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one after the game, and we will all know about this, and we will just destroy a lane in the game quickly.
I can commit to 1 game after. I can do it.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
I can do it.
All right. Well, as I mentioned just a second ago, we did run a poll on our Twitter account this last week here about what role are you hoping to see come to the Nexus, and to tell us who in the comments here. So we had a warrior, of course, support specialist, and assassin, and support won.
I may have taken some creative liberty on the descriptions.
You did. So it was warrior, peel for days, support, oh please blizz, specialist, get crazy, and assassin, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely skewed your voter base. Yeah, you've skewed the voter base with this subliminal syntax here.
But I mean, look at the results. The results speak for themselves. 62%, and we got over 75 votes on this thing. 62% support, please Blizzard support. 21% warrior, 12% specialist, and 5% assassin.
Yeah. And it's I can understand.
That tells you something.
I can understand support winning this, but my opinions, real quick on this, I voted warrior because I don't know. For me, I feel like I have more options of what I want to play as support, to whereas warrior, we're still kind of in the now, since Diablo's been reworked, it's away from the ETC Muradin, so we have a few more options here, especially with the Haka. I want to see Reinhardt in the game. So that's pretty much.
I'm 100% with you. I voted warrior as well, in part because I love main tanks.
Yeah,
the off tanks are fun; they're kind of cool, but a full-on main tank is just always fun to me. And yeah, even Dahaka is a little bit better in that regard now too. But yeah, I love that feel. I was actually thinking Diva though. But Reinhardt would be sweet as well.
Yeah.
Either way, Overwatch.
I feel bad because I also voted Warrior, but Curveball, I like your choices better than mine in my head, but it was Phoenix from StarCraft.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted like kind of like another ranged tank in the game, and he might be able to be it, or I don't know. Anyway, it was just that was my first thought. But listening to you guys, that's embarrassing. I should have definitely picked Reinhardt or Diva, Winston. Like I don't know, something from I think Winston might be cool.
Yeah.
In the game, he might have some unique kits and a unique kit and an opportunity to have another barrel ultimate, because everybody loves Chin's barrel.
Yeah.
We could use another knockback,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he with his shield and then his weapon at the same time being a shield destroyer, could be interesting, especially with the shields currently in the game. But we also heard from you guys what you wanted. Nuge, and you're in chat here. Is it Nujoya? You're Nuge on Twitter. I don't know how do you pronounce. How would you guys say that? Nuge.
Nujoya?
I would say
or
Nuge.
Nuge for
Nuge.
short.
Okay.
I'd
Usually
say
usually that's
Nujoya.
I love her pick though.
Yeah, it's Ysera.
Sarah.
Which is cool.
I
And
love this idea.
she backs it up with Cleanse Nightmare and Emerald Dream ults. She's got the ults there, and then on top of that, with the corrupted Ysera from Legion already being a nice
thing.
bundle. But I will counter argue that Reinhardt has a ton of skins in Overwatch that are all awesome and could also be put in the game.
Yeah.
true.
But I would like. I thought that was probably one of the best. I said Anduin because that would get us another Hearthstone character.
Yeah, my word.
Agreed.
And that would get us a priest, which would be awesome. And you could even multi-class that if you wanted to between heals and shadow, which is cool. Ysera, I love as a support because that not only brings the support in, that brings the Dragonflight in. Because I really don't count Chromie, because Chromie is just a gnome.
She's
like,
an underling. She is a
she's
dragon, but
she
she's not
is,
Nosdormu.
but not in Heroes.
Well, what's to say?
She's not one of the aspects
What's to say Ysera wouldn't just be a night elf?
that can then ult into her dragon form. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want
I think-
if we add another dragon, I want to see an actual dragon form.
Yes. And
Whether it's an ult or not, there needs to be a freaking dragon form.
I think if you're gonna do one of the major dragon flights, you do them in dragon form. Like
Yeah,
that's the
just
only way you
period.
do it. Chromie's fine, like you said, it's a side piece. But if you're gonna do one of the major color dragonflight leaders, you gotta go with like dragon form. Like
Well, and the size issue they solved with Ragnaros. And we talked
Sure.
about it then. Like the thought was maybe they wouldn't be able to do it because he's too big, or maybe he'd be a map obstacle or something like that. They just threw that away and said, you know what? We know it's a huge character. We're going to shrink him down, throw him in the Nexus.
and
They
they
do that
gave
with
him
the dragons.
they gave him the ability to jump in the building and become the big Ragnaros. So people still
Right,
got
right.
that fanfare, that pleasure. Okay, there he is. That's what I'm used to. So I think I don't know. I Deathwing, they got to fit him in the game somehow.
Yeah,
That's what
he's
I think
coming
of. So yeah.
So while we're on this topic, I just want to kind of throw out, because a lot of people don't necessarily remember the release schedule of what we've got. So we had Zul'jin, Assassin, Ragnaros, Assassin, Varian.
Hard assassin.
His warrior build's much better now.
Wassassin. It's a Wassassin.
Yes, it's a Wassassin. So it's not necessarily anything specific. Samuro, Assassin. Zarya, Bruiser. Let's be honest, she's not a main tank.
Support.
She's not a main
Also,
tank.
Yeah,
all of the ones you listed up to Zarya right there, Warcraft.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Assassin.
Then we had Alarak, Assassin. Ariel. So August 9th, we had Ariel, so support. Then we had, before that, Gul'dan, Assassin. Medivh, Specialist. Chromie, Assassin. Tracer, Assassin. And we got really our last legit tank. Like, they could actually maybe solo tank. And that's only been recently. Dahaka was March 29th of last year. And then you had Zul, Specialist. Li Ming, Assassin. Greymane, Assassin. Cho'Gall, Assassin, basically.
Plus Ward.
Lunara,
Plus
Assassin. Artanis, Bruiser. And then back in October 6th of 2015, Lieutenant Morales. We have literally had 2 support characters released since October 6th of 2015.
It's pretty crazy.
As far as I'm concerned, like, in my mind, that is completely unacceptable. Like, I know Blizzard, you've got a schedule of characters and stuff, but I feel like you should be bumping some supports up and in since then
Haven't they
because
said that's the plan too? I thought
like
that was the vibe we had.
they've said there's going to be more supports this year.
Mhm.
And I really hope so because 2 supports in over a year just does not seem right at all. And I mean, this is why the poll is almost 70% people wanting supports because we've had two supports since October 6th of 2015. And we haven't had, other than maybe Varian, since he does have a decent tank kit now, we haven't had necessarily a main tank since I don't even know. Like Johanna was June 2nd of 2015. And then we had Leoric, who's not really a main tank necessarily. He
He
doesn't
was
have the
for a while.
CC. He doesn't really have the CC for it. He ran a lot in dual tanks. So you could maybe argue Leoric. So July 21st of 2015.
I would argue
then-
Cho'Gall as a main tank is just very specialized.
Different stuff.
But we saw him as main tank in competitive play. Therefore, I will qualify him as main tank.
He was main
Yeah.
tank when we queued up against Heroes of Fitness right before the show. Shout outs.
Shout out to them. But I mean, it's just
yeah.
there's been very few specialists lately.
Mhm.
We've had no specialists released since Medivh back in June of last year.
In specialists, I think should have the least amount of heroes in game.
Sure,
Follow-
and I
I
agree.
think assassin should
I
have
agree.
most, followed by tank and support should probably be fairly even.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say warriors just because there's the mix of bruisers and main tanks.
Sure.
And then, closely followed by support and then, specialist, which is not the case right now.
No.
Support has to be tough to design, though. I mean, when you think
is.
about it, you have to almost basically make a healer, because if you're not doing that, then you're doing some sort of shield, sort of off support in the vein of Tassadar and some others, kind of like Medivh even is support E. But like if you're gonna write up a heal, it has to be something interesting and different, and yet effective. Like you can't just I mean, the thought of having Zenyatta in the game, for instance, and having the orbs on people all the time sounds really cool, but scaling that to where it's actually anything more than just your regular laning health regen on some characters would probably be tough to do. So I think it's a role that we have a lot of interesting characters in, and I think that's kind of holding them back a little bit because they really have to stretch and think about new ideas for some of these new supports.
Yeah.
True. But I mean,
I still want them to do it. Don't get me wrong.
These-
I'm with you guys 100%.
I have lots of faith in the heroes designers.
Agree.
I have so much faith that I believe that they can do more than 2 supports in a year and a half.
Yeah.
That is how much faith I have in their ability.
He is.
I know
he is
they can
upset,
do it.
guys. He's upset. Is this normal?
as-
is this
as
normal?
a-
Because you guys gonna let this happen?
Like I am a tank and support main, so it's been kind of a dry season. There's been a
long
drought.
year.
And
It's-
him coming
a
off
long
his 2 months off of work, not 2 months, but long time off of work playing a lot of heroes, he is now realizing I have played the same
Like
heroes over
I played
and over.
the same heroes a lot.
Yep.
Like I got 2 or 3 level 10s this time around, and several of them were support. I got 2 more levels on Rhaegar. My Rhaegar's a level 14 now because I love Rhaegar so
Jeez,
much.
dude.
But it's just like there's just not a lot of alternatives right now, and so I
don't know.
I believe you, Blizzard. I am rooting for you. I would like at least 2, maybe 3 supports this year. That would be super nice. Shake up the middle a little bit. I would like at least 1 or 2 main tanks this year. That would be awesome, Blizzard. I have complete faith in you. Let's talk about what leaked hero might come next. Oh, it's an assassin.
And a Warcraft assassin. which
Oh, it's a
is
Warcraft
complaint.
assassin.
So many
I haven't heard this one before.
characters in a row.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, real quick.
And it could be a stealthy too.
Real quick, well, I understand you guys want heroes from other games, but think about how large the Warcraft universe is. And yes,
Yes.
I'm not even a huge StarCraft fan, and I would love to have more StarCraft characters in the game, but there's just so much. There's so much, and this game is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Sure.
We
And
will get to those
honestly,
heroes.
I honestly don't care
Yeah.
what universe the heroes are from. Like some people have
Well,
a
I mean, some
really
people are
big
upset.
attachment to yeah, some one universe or another. I don't have that as much. I'm much more of a role attachment than I am like a specific hero attachment. So it being Warcraft doesn't bother me,
We
but
haven't even announced who it is yet. And technically, she is from the Warcraft universe, but if I'm not mistaken,
Hearthstone.
she originated in Hearthstone.
No.
no.
Nope.
No.
No, no,
She
she
was. She's back
she
in
existed before the
Valerian's.
lore.
Yeah, she's back in. Or in. Wow. I just combined Varian
Game
and
of
Valera.
Thrones. Yeah.
Yes, it's Valyria, guys. That's
It's Valyria.
that's what we've been talking
Valyrian, which
about.
But-
is Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
but anyway.
she's back in Varian's, base storyline when he washed up on the shore, was raised as a gladiator by Rhaegar. Valera was also one of the gladiators under Rhaegar.
Ah, gotcha.
So-
But I mean,
And-
she came to sort of prominence as the rogue
Yes.
hero in
Yes,
Hearthstone.
for
as
sure.
well,
That's where
so.
her fame and well-known. Yes, that is because of her portrait in Hearthstone. I agree.
And she's a rogue. So there is no rogue in the game yet. The closest thing we have to a rogue is probably Zeratul.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as the whole stealthy get in, burst, get out type aspect. We know from WoW there's several different specs of rogue that they could go with. Some of them are not as stealthy based as others are. Like subtlety rogue, that's mostly stealth based. But then you've got, what are the other rogue kits?
It's
now.
combat,
Assassin.
it's combat,
Assassin.
subtlety, and assassin.
No,
Assassination.
not anymore.
Well,
Now
not anymore.
you
It's
have
pirate. They
yeah.
call it pirate.
Arr.
no. What's it called? It's not outlaw. There it is.
Outlaw.
That's it.
Outlaw and assassination
And
Well,
subtlety.
yeah.
and subtlety.
I don't know.
So I mean,
Dude,
there's a lot. There's a lot.
If you're
that-
gonna put a rogue in though, you got to do the assassin. You got to have it be the kidney shot and the burst, and just like we all hated back in the vanilla WoW days and the arena ruining our lives.
Don't-
Oh, I agree.
that is the last thing I want is to be WoW PvP stun locked in Heroes of the Storm. Good
oh,
lord.
you don't want PTSD? You a wuss? What's the problem?
No.
it'll be interesting because if she is a stealth character, which would make a lot of sense, her being a rogue to have stealth of some sort, that will be 4 stealth characters.
Yeah.
In the game, so that'll be
For too many.
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah. for
We
sure.
also
Because
kind
they
of
have
just
to
called
be
her last
careful
week.
about it. We did. We talked
did.
about her last week.
All right, and real quickly here, we also had Blackout suggest he wants Dreadlord from Warcraft 3 Mal'Ganis. As long as people, they don't care, they want a unique kit and fun to play, and I can agree with that. But man, we got a lot more to get through here. So real quick before we get into tournament talk, I want to give a shout out to a new patron supporting the show, Mr. Jacob Crimmin.
I would say
thank you.
Crimmin.
Crimmin.
Yeah, I would say Crimmin.
We really appreciate the support not only from you but all of our patrons. And shoot us a message here with your preferred Zord title. I'll try and reach out to you before next week for the honorary, the almighty, world-renowned Zord title.
Zorderific.
Zord title. We'll get that.
I'm not mad at Crimmenzord, but that's just me. I don't know.
I just
I'm
want to make
throwing
sure
that out there.
when people sign up with their their real name, I don't know their gamer tag, so I don't want to
Sure,
give them just a random title there. But TBK, some more fantastic information, some coming out
Oh my
today
gosh.
about what's going on in HGC. So what do we got?
There's so much tournament talk stuff. So before we get to the big stuff, let's get the smaller things out of the way. So last week how we talked about Astral dropping the old Murloc Geniuses team? Well, this week Tempo Storm picked them up. So
It's quick.
that was not long. I assume the deal was probably in the making when Astral dropped them.
And good
So
for them.
yeah,
Good
good for them.
I will
Tempo
say
is picking up a really good team.
I was kind of surprised by this when it was first announced, only for the fact, Tempo Storm originally left North America because it was weak in the hero scene and went to Korea where it didn't have a fantastic showing. And now they're back when, at this point, it's hard to tell. Yes, North America has improved, but, from BlizzCon, the fall championships, North America is kind of one of the weaker regions, not the weakest region. We have fallen behind Europe, who we were previously above, and now Tempo Storm's coming back. I am glad to see them back in North America. And I'm really glad to see the Murloc Genius team picked up by this. It's a fantastic team, full of really great guys. And it's going around the internet. But darn it, June he's such a cute guy. He's just so innocent. He's
Okay.
He's
Personally,
adorable.
Caterpillars at the dreamboat.
Cute. Sorry, he was wrong. He's adorable. Like, look, all of his pictures. It seems like he's just not minding the camera, just off in the corner.
Keep talking, Greg.
And
Just
it's
totes
adorable.
adorbs.
It's adorable.
Keep
So wait, are you the guy that started the Twitter that June is adorbs?
No.
June is adorbs. That's not you.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay,
But-
that's weird that came up on my feed and it's not you though. Weird.
Trying to not dig myself deeper here.
Moving on.
Please move on.
Moving on.
I can cut that. Cut it.
My bad, bro.
Cheerleague-
My bad.
Chair League Season 4 is about to start. January 30th. Signups are open now at chairleague.com/seasons/4 for Season 4. Makes a lot of sense. Like I said, January 30th, it will run through April 3rd. They're doing things a little different this year as far as the team goes. You're not going to do placements anymore. All 4 divisions are now opened up, and you can actually pretty much just apply your team to whichever division you think you will fit in. So Division 3 is the casual, Division 2 is competitive, Division 1 is very competitive, and Pro Division is extremely competitive. So you can kind of feel out how good your team did last season, if you did it last season, where you want to be, what kind of commitment you want to do. If you're just out to have fun, D3, if you're just starting to get your legs under you, but you feel like you've got a decent grasp of the game, D2, and then of course Pro and D1 are going to be the most competitive environments. So you can jump into whatever one that you guys are feeling. And if you stomp people, you probably pick the wrong one. And if you get stomped, probably pick the wrong one. So feel it out. I don't know if they'll let you switch divisions or not, but they've got a few more rules and stuff up. And of course, games will be casted again. So you can apply to be a caster and start out practicing there. It's an awesome place to practice. It's an awesome place to find teams and just get going, especially with what we're going to talk about next, which is the HGC Open Division. So this thing for North America will be starting January 24th. Registration starts here in just a few days. European registration just opened up a day or two ago. And this is going to be Blizzard's open league that is going to kind of run in tandem with the official HGC Pro League. And with it, you'll be able to register your 5-man team. It's going to play every other week for 7 weeks. I believe Europe and NA alternate their weeks. Casting is going to be done by Solid Jake and Jhow on the NA side, and Grubby, I believe, on the EU side. So that'll be really cool. And there is a prize pool too. There's $1,000 up for grabs per week that will be split between the first, second, and third place teams. So you can actually make money. And winning, placing high will give you points. And those points will go towards this kind of end of open season tournament where the top 2 teams from that open will be able to challenge the bottom 2 teams from the HGC Pro scene mid-season in best of 7 games to take over their spot for the second half of the year. So this is a pretty big deal.
It is.
Yeah, it's huge.
those are
It's a
gonna
lot
be
of drama, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's the top 16 teams who have earned the most points from the tournament cup play that they're going to have will be eligible for that tournament, seeded by their points, of course. So yeah, this is awesome. I will say, I'm part of me was hoping, I didn't really think it was going to happen, but I was really hoping that they may have tried to tie this in with Chair League, just because how well that organization's run. It's been fantastic for the community to open up the open division in Chair League for this. Great for up and coming casters. Don't get me wrong, I love that Jay Howe and Jake will be casting these. They're fantastic. But because this is going to impact Chair League a little bit here with
Sure.
a lot of the teams that would have played in pro division.
It'll impact Heroes hype and stuff too,
Yeah.
which is the other big open
So.
amateur division or recreational amateur scene type
And
division.
those are still
So-
good scenes to practice for this.
They are,
for sure.
absolutely.
So a
There
great
would be
place
that
to find scrimming partners.
It was
Right.
it was just a little tunnel dream of mine.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe eventually.
Yeah.
Knowing Paul, who's the one that runs Chair League, I'm sure he would be open to talking with Blizzard about it if that's the direction they wanted to go one season. But now that we've talked about the Open League, let's talk about the information that was released today, which is the actual HGC Pro League, all like the starting information. So we already knew that everything was going to start January 20th, but now we have our times and our matches posted. So Europe and North America are going to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The European matches, of course, will be first starting at 9 a.m. Pacific and then 11:30 a.m. Pacific. And then the North American matches will start 2 p.m. Pacific and then 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So only 4 matches, 4 sets a day, which is fantastic. And all of them are going to be out there beforehand, so you can pick which ones you want to watch, and you'll know at about the time when these things are going to start, which is fantastic. We'll have a link in the show notes, of course, but for the NA side of things, we'll be starting things off Friday, January 20th with Tempo Storm versus Naventic, which should be a really good game. And then Team 8, which is the Chew 8 versus No Tomorrow. And then Saturday, we have the Superstars versus Team Freedom, which was the old Grandmaster Jackets. They got picked up. Gale Force versus B-Step. B-Step versus Team 8 on Sunday. And then I think the match that everybody is looking forward to, the second match on Sunday, Naventic versus Gale Force, who had a little friendly poking back and forth at each other this week on Twitter. A lot of fun.
Friendly. Yes, right.
Yes. This feels so much like real sports. It's awesome. Just
I
to be
love
able
it.
to be like, the afternoon game is between these two.
It
Yeah,
is.
there's a lot of hype behind it, and I love it. I just
Feels
love
cool, man.
It is. And I'm super stoked because my work schedule got changed on Fridays, and I'll be able to catch these. All right.
Awesome. So as far as the Korean stuff goes, they're going to still be doing the live at OGN Studios for the Korean stuff, and they're still going to be doing the Gold League stuff in China. So not a whole lot will change. It's mostly North America and Europe kind of getting on the same schedule. And to do that, they're bringing over some casters. So Gilly and Dreadnought will be your HGC Pro casters for the whole season this year for the NA side of things. They're bringing Caldor over from Europe. He's actually moving to California, and he and Trixler are going to be casting all of the Europe games. And so Trixler, interestingly enough, is actually leaving Blizzard because the casting stuff is contract work. So he's actually leaving Blizzard. He has taken the position, the contract work for the casting for the Europe side of things. And so he was saying on Reddit, he's going to be casting this and he's going to be streaming a lot more. So that's what he's going to be focusing on this year, which is really cool.
It is.
Yeah.
And then,
Good for him.
so yeah, congratulations to him. Best of luck going forward. It's a big commitment. It's always a little scary switching jobs, but he's had a lot of casting experience. So, and I haven't really seen him and Caldor duo
Yeah, that'll
that
be
much.
interesting.
So it'll be really interesting to see if they can really form a good synergy there. And the other really cool thing is they're going to have Wolf and G-Clef cast an English stream of the Korean games, which is really cool.
That is nice. Yeah.
I don't believe they're going to be here in the U.S., but they're going to be live at the OGN studio, and they will have an English stream of all the Korean games. So really, really cool because that has not happened very much.
It's going to make it so much easier to follow the Korean scene over there, and just
Yeah.
more fun to go back and at least watch VODs. I mean, naturally, the time zones aren't going to work out so well for us over here, but it'll be good to catch. I look forward to those.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of stuff to look forward to. They also announced that the first Western Clash will take place at IEM on March 3rd through the 5th, where teams from North America, Europe, Latin America, Australia, and New Zealand will compete for their share of a $100,000 prize pool. And the first Eastern Clash on March 17th will take place at the Gold Series Stadium in Shanghai for another $100,000 prize pool, and that's the Korean, China, Taiwan, and Southeast Asia teams. And then everybody will come together for the mid-season brawl at DreamHack in Sweden.
Potentially everybody.
It should be everybody.
You mean if
Unless-
their
It's all
visas
the
work?
all the regions. All the
But-
regions be coming together for
Well,
the.
isn't
that
it
is
like
after the first Crucible, correct?
No,
It's not?
no. I believe the first Crucible is after this.
Okay. Well, then it's not mid-season. Just details. You tricked me.
Yes, mid-season.
Semantics.
It says mid-season brawl. It says mid-season brawl.
Okay.
Gets
Okay.
But yeah. So lots of fun. Lots of fun. It'll
It is.
It'll be
Yeah.
really good.
So, Slambo, I'm interested because it has been very difficult to follow multiple esports just because of how long the tournaments are, and sometimes they fall in the same weekends here. Of course, with the Overwatch League happening, that's going to change the way Overwatch esports works. But are you interested? Do you plan on following the HGC now that it's more accessible? Not having
know
to
what?
spend an entire weekend watching it.
That's exactly the word I would use. It's more accessible. It's more organized, and it's just like like I think Kevin said it, and I know you're kind of kidding, but you're serious as well. Is that it's becoming more like a real sport?
Yeah.
So
Oh no, I
it-
was serious.
I know, and well, I guess but yeah, all right, you were. but-
Semantics. No.
I guess, but the idea that sometimes there's so much out there to go through, and imagine if there were 3 different NFLs or 3 different NBAs, whatever sport you're into, it would be so hard. So kind of what they're doing is compressing everything. They're making it more digestible, and I can catch up and watch this weekend's action, and it means more. There's higher stakes. People often argue, just kind of in general with games, is it better to have more games in a season? Is it better to have less games in a season in a sport? And to me, what I like the most is football, because you only have 16 chances a year to watch your team, to worship your team, for your team to win. And every game matters. Every weekend matters. Where baseball, I'm a huge Royals fan, but I'm like, I'm missing the doubleheader today. Well, they're playing Friday and Saturday and Sunday, so I can miss this game. That's kind of the feeling that I get with baseball at times, but I'm a huge fan. So with Heroes doing this, it's going to make it more like football, where there's less games and each game is maybe measured and worth more. So this will make it much easier for me to follow. And by the way, I mean, I still would watch the major events. I still would watch the big, BlizzCon things. And I'm still was involved. Right. I didn't just pass it by, but and I also will be all this we're talking about. I'm kind of with a, smiling and smirking, because it's giving me a taste of what the Overwatch League might look like.
Yeah.
And I'm going to maybe find things I like and don't like. And then I have more of a perspective to bring when I think about Overwatch and how it's going to be. So
Right.
This is just like laying groundwork for Blizzard esports. And
Esports in general.
You're right. How dare I? Not just Blizzard esports. And I love the idea of the Crucible. I think League does something similar, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong there. I don't really know League at all.
Split.
It's something like that, but it's not exactly this. But I love the idea, and you get those underdog teams who come up through the open ranks, and they fought for the chance to get to those best of 7, with the bottom of the pro squad. That's where some really fun, I guess, just esports can come out, no matter what the game, HOTS, Overwatch, whatever. So I'm super excited for all these changes. I'm optimistic, and I'm going to watch way more HOTS now. And who knows? I may even buy me a Tempo Storm shirt at this point. I don't know.
May as well.
I'm
Yours-
I'm still blocked by Raynet on Twitter.
Oh boy. Well, you earned it, buddy. So
Yeah. Well,
Also-
this is
also-
also good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is also easier on people who follow multiple esports in general too, because even if you don't catch the games live as they're happening, it's going to be easier to follow the VODs going back.
Oh yeah.
There are only going to be so many. If like you're a huge Gale Force esports fan, you want to just watch them. It'll be easier to catch those. It's going to be accessible, like you said.
Yeah, and we are honestly, as far as I know, still waiting for a new or fully redesigned Heroes Esports site.
Yeah.
As that was one of the big complaints last year, that it was not updated very often. It was very hard to follow. It was not well kept up.
Yeah.
You couldn't navigate it very well. So they've been saying there's a big site upgrade on the way. So it wouldn't be surprising if they reveal that sometime next week, which would be super nice because I would like to go and I would like to click the schedule button and see the next, the first phase one laid out and whatnot. And Greg, I can roll this back a little bit because I double checked on it. So the Crucible is in May, and the mid-season brawl is going to be at the beginning of June. It looks like. So it's kind of a yes and no because all the places will be set before the Crucible goes. So we'll know who the top teams are from NA and EU that are going to the mid-season brawl. But the Crucible will be before that mid-season brawl with the bottom two from the bottom two HGC and the top two from the Open Division.
And that makes sense that they wouldn't be going to this. But what I want on a website for Heroes Esports, I want it to be like a NFL or MLB website right now. I want to be able to go, click on a team, see that team's schedule, who they're going to face. I want to be able to click on a region, see the current standings. So I think that they can do it. I think they will pull it off. But yeah, we'll have to see because it definitely has been extremely rough, and what's made part of following esports inaccessible. So that'll be a big step there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's go ahead and get on into this thing here.
Hero of the Week.
This week, it is the one-armed, one-eyed troll who consequently has 2 arms and 2 eyes in the Nexus. Imagine that. He did originally have 2 arms and 2 eyes. Just to clarify
He just used that regeneration.
He did.
That's right.
Regenerating. He was regenerating.
He's been regenerating.
So yes, of course, this hero entered the Nexus last week. It was straight to release. A lot of fun to play. I've really enjoyed most of their latest hero releases. And it's been fantastic. But this guy, he's the first troll again to enter the Nexus. A really unique game, game style as far as playing him, having to balance your health versus your attack damage. Much like Gul'dan, but at the same time very different. So let's go ahead and go over his stuff real quick here, just in case you guys don't know, and you can get prepared to play him in the free hero rotation this week. Again, that trait is Berserker. It's passive. Zul'jin's going to attack for 1% faster. Is it 1%? It's messed up on.
Yeah, it's 1%.
Yeah, 1% faster for every 1% of max health missing, and you can activate it to increase your basic attack damage by 25%, and at the same time consume 2 maximum health per attack. So
2% maximum health.
Yes. So that's kind of the balance there as far as the health. His abilities: Q, Grievous Throw, 50 mana, 8-second cooldown. You will throw an axe forward, dealing 130 damage, of course scaling to the first 2 enemies hit and marking them for 8 seconds. Marked enemies take 50% bonus damage from basic attacks, Zul'jin's basic attacks, next 3. And yes, that is 8 seconds there. His W, Twin Cleave, 60 mana, 8 seconds. You throw 2 axes in a large circular arc. And I know when this ability was first announced, we were kind of questioning how it would be cast. Was it going to be kind of like Li Ming's missiles? It is not. It is a circle, which takes a little bit of getting used to in order to hit the intended targets. But that will also slow them by 15% per axe for 2 seconds. So potentially 30% for, is that still 2 seconds or is it 4
Yeah,
seconds?
it's still 2. It's still 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then E, regeneration, where you channel to regenerate 25% of your max health over 4 seconds. If you move while channeling or take damage, it will interrupt this effect. So, interesting kit there. It's, in a way, just based off his basic kit, it kind of feels like a mix between Vala and Gul'dan is kind of how it seems to me. But it's fun. It's really good. Multi, what do we have for his first heroic ability here?
His first heroic ability, which I don't know what it means in Trollish. Maybe you would, Slambo. Taz Dingo.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to look it up, but Das Dingoman. That's all I can say for now.
Right. It's what the Senjin Shieldmaster calls out every time. In
It's just a
Hearthstone.
victory chant.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
appears to
victory
be a
chant.
victory chant or
Just
cheer.
a straight up.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever had meaning like some of the orcish things we're familiar
like
with.
Loktar and
Loktar and Moklorok or God damn it.
Mokgora.
Yeah, Mokgora, thank you. Like we know, like those have actual translations, even though I butchered the orcish version too.
Keck.
But I think Das Dingo is just like, yeah, exactly, same thing.
I love it. Yeah, okay, so Tas Dingo is 75 mana, 90-second cooldown. For the next 4 seconds, Zul'jin is unkillable and cannot be reduced to less than 1 health. Tas Dingo! Of course, at the end of that 4 seconds, you're killable again.
You're dead.
Possibly dead.
I will say if Taz Dingo is a victory chant, that is never what it is when I use this ability.
No?
If you see me use this, I am going to die. I will tell you now, I'm going to die, but darn it, I am taking as many people as I can with me. So,
Hey, if you take 2 people down for you, that's a 2-for-1 trade.
yeah, I guess that's still victory there.
Worst things have happened.
And then TBK, what do we got for second ult?
Second ult is Guillotine. 70 mana on a 45-second cooldown. Zul'jin launches a massive axe into the air that drops on the targeted area, dealing 218 scaling damage plus bonus damage the lower his health is. And so I have a little beef with this ultimate. I don't like
Where's the beef?
I don't like this ultimate at all. It's deceptive with its 45-second cooldown. The reason it's 45 seconds is because it knows how hard it is to hit with, and so it has to give you lots of tries to actually hit something with.
Well,
it.
and even if
It has-
you do hit someone with it and you're at pretty high health,
it doesn't
not gonna
do much.
a ton.
No, it's got a very weird cast delay when you first throw it up. So you have to kind of judge that and get used to that. And then the actual guillotine itself is pretty small. And it's also
Not big,
rectangular. It's not a very big area. So you have to be incredibly precise, and you have to gauge where the enemy is going to be after that delay in the cast, and you have to be at low health or lower health for it to do much of anything.
The range is pretty huge, though,
Yeah.
in its defense.
And I can say, so I do not take guillotine, but I can see, whereas this is on a 45-second cooldown, there are builds out there who concentrate on keeping your health, 50% or lower, try and hover right around there, and with increased range. So I can see where this, after taking it a few times, you'll get used to the cast time, how it casts, being potentially good for somebody who's able to keep that health 50% or less, while at the same time staying in safe range and getting use of this every 45 seconds.
And I mean, just to comment on it, I feel like too if you can land your Grievous throw and you hit 3 or 4 auto attacks on most heroes in the game, they're already at a pretty low health pool. I mean, he can hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it has potential, like in your saying, where someone's playing kind of a mid-health build and they're trying to keep it low. You could potentially land 3 or 4 attacks and finish with this ability, with the right comp, with a movement-based support with you or something along those lines. But I don't know. I guess up until this conversation, I saw really zero use.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all.
Again,
So now at least I'm trying to think of it differently.
I don't think it'll ever take the spot, but like for, somebody who's really going to solo lane, because he can be a great solo laner. and to use this kind of as a pick-off ability pre-fight, because while Tazdingo was amazing in a team fight, of course, if you're able to go into team fights with a man advantage, that's also amazing. So,
Well, now that I think about it too, and I haven't been in this setup yet, so that's kind of why I didn't think of it this way. This could be an incredible ult for heroes that have setups for you on the team, such as
Nazebo,
Ring of
Malfurion.
Frost.
Yeah.
Ring of Frost, this would work amazingly with. Nazebo walls could work decently. Maw, it could technically work decently with. Leyline Seal from Medivh, it could work with. Void Prison from Zeratul, it could work with. Anything that had Bone Prison, even with Zul, if you're able to time that out right, since Zul's Bone Prison does have a wind up, so you can actually time that out fairly accurately where the person's going to end up. So I mean, there's
Chromie?
definitely Chromie
It could be a
temporal
tank
loop.
nuke. Like a Chromie combo plus the guillotine could just destroy a tank.
So
And-
there could be uses.
I have gotten a legit double kill in one guillotine. It was Haunted Mines. It was in the middle of a big group fight, like 5-on-5, everyone fighting it out. And I threw it at their back line when I was at like a quarter health and killed 2 people. It was great. It was a good time.
Yeah, so
It's fun.
It's hard for me.
Situational.
Yeah,
It is.
Again, Tazdingo is just so fun. It's hard for me to pick guillotine, but
That's the thing.
I
It's
want
just too
to
fun.
I want to commit myself to this week to try out some stuff with guillotine. But yeah, Tazdingo.
Dingo.
Let's go ahead and hop into the build here real quick. So Slambo, let's start with you. What are we going with at level 1 here?
Juanax. That was my best impression of Warcraft 2 unit whenever you'd make a troll. Juanax. I don't know. All right, anyway. That is the name of the talent that I would pick because I do want axe. And I think that there are really there's no other choice at this first talent tier that I feel like is worth taking. And I think you guys agree with me. On paper, it'd be nice to hit more targets with your Grievous Throw, but you only can attack one target. You're not a multi-attack target. So yeah, maybe I can mark more targets with my Q, but I can't attack all of them. I have to choose one at a time. And the Arcanite axes, I don't think that there's many talents in the entire talent tree that make Arcanite axes worth it based on what you said earlier, Gizmo, which was that there is a little bit of weirdness to it.
Yeah.
You almost need to hit a target with the axes as they're walking away. If you're trying to melee someone and you just throw the axes at them, they're going to sit right in the middle of the circle, and they're just going to create a little storm around them, and they're just going to sit in the middle of it going, what was the problem?
Well, and
So-
I have found this is a tip from Kyle Ferguson that actually to really not try unless they are running away to hit them with both at the pinnacle, but instead you can cast it to the side.
Yeah.
For much, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it is much easier to connect.
More
on those.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
it
good
just
tip for wave clear as well.
It is, yeah, and that's definitely mostly how I do that kind of that side angle one too. But yeah, definitely, and think the true power of that ability is the slow.
Yeah.
So we're not really looking to increase the damage. So really long-winded way of saying at level 1, there's really no other talent you want to pick, but you want axe. It's giving you increased damage every time you attack heroes, and that scales the whole game. It doesn't have a cap. And after you've attacked heroes 120 times, you get 20% increased range, which makes him essentially Raynor or Vala with talents,
Yeah.
right? So that's really
Huge.
good.
I will say, and I do pick U1 Axe most of the time. There are situations, and this is Dixo had posted a Reddit post in our Discord that I read at, and I actually tried out Bone Slicer here.
You did.
Yes. So this is great. While, he can only attack one hero, it's 8 seconds for marking somebody. So, this is great for wave clear because you can clear through a ton of those minions by the time the 8 seconds is up. And then by that time, Bone Slice or Grievous Throw is almost back up, if not up. And then they're mentioning, especially for, quick match solo queue scenario, this is great for getting tanks. The tank's going to walk off. However, you can switch to another target that's up close, and by the time that tank comes back, there's just so many targets marked in a team fight that you don't have to chase anyone down that has that mark. It's just whoever's up front, beam them. So, but I do 100% love the 20% range. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's incredible. Especially helps with balancing that health if that's the route you're going here, which is kind of the route we're going here. So definitely want to take that.
Yeah, even if you want Axe didn't stack the basic attack damage, it would be worth it just to complete the quest to get the extra range.
Yeah.
So,
All
but that
right.
it does both makes it pretty good.
And it's infinitely scalable
Yeah, no
too. So
cap.
the longer the game,
That's
and
pretty
there's a
huge.
lot of these quests that have a cap. Once you've hit the cap, you can't continue to go anymore. But with him to not have one, the longer the game goes, the better he's getting, and he's also compounding his damage with his passive and his trait, with his attack speed and the 25% increase just for toggling it on. So the increased damage you get from that talent again is expanded with his passive as well. So it's just, and the range on top, geez, it's too much
It is.
at times. But Gizmo, to your point, when I first read everything, my gut was like Bone Slicer and really to focus on talents of the queue. But in practical application, I feel forced to pick U1 Axe, and even I'm not mad about it, but I do feel like I have.
I'm not even mad.
I will
ain't even
say,
mad.
he can struggle with mana a little bit. So the fact that this is a talent that's not encouraging you to cast that whenever you don't have a target you're trying to mark
Yeah.
is also good.
Yep.
That's a great point.
So let's go to level 4 here. TBK, what are we going with?
So normally you'll go with Let the Killing Begin, and this will pretty much stack with U1 Axe. When Zul'jin kills an enemy, his basic attack speed is increased by 6% up to 30% for 15 seconds, and then basic attacks actually refresh that duration. Hero takedowns instantly grant 30 attack speed, so you're getting extra attack speed from killing things, minions or heroes, and that stacks up and it refreshes on your basic attacks, and then you're doing more damage from U1X. Like it just synergizes so well.
It's kind of like hatred for Vala.
Yeah, it's like that. And so the only other thing I will sometimes take on this tier, depending, especially in quick match. So say I don't get a healer in quick match, Troll's Blood, very, very good. Regeneration heal amount increased by 75%. This is a huge increase to his channel E. And if you have a healer that is not a very strong healer, you don't have a healer with you, or you're going to be soloing a bunch, this is really nice because you can step away, heal up even after a fight, and get back to in the safe zone, and then go and continue on your merry way. Most of the time, if you have a legitimate healer or a legitimate comp, Let the Killing Begin is going to be where you're wanting to shoot for, but there's definitely application for Troll's Blood depending on what you're matched with or what the comp is.
I have to shout out the third one though, just because it's a cool concept.
It is.
Headhunter. The quest is to get a takedown on all unique enemy heroes, and the reward activate to reveal all enemy heroes for 4 seconds, which could be useful. I don't know. It seems like a small reward relative to the quest, but the idea behind it is awesome.
It has potential here.
Yeah.
Map situational, and of course, if Valera is the next hero, that's probably another stealthy hero, which can always be nice. And does it say what the cooldown on it is?
It's 60 seconds.
60
Yeah,
seconds.
6
yeah,
second
yeah.
cooldown.
So that can be really good for making decisions of, hey, all 5 are up, but let's see where they're at. Maybe we can take boss right now.
Yeah.
In setting
And
up rotations, gank potential. I wish that this ability would not notify, and I don't know that it does, but I assume because it says reveal, they would see the red eye above their hero. I wish it didn't do that because that would be awesome. And then I might actually lean towards this.
I think it's funny because when I initially saw it, I was like, this is the most overpowered thing in the game. What a great teamwork based ability. But then I really thought about it, and I'm not sure if you guys will agree with me or not, but after playing this game with for a long time and with different maps and objectives and heroes and comps, a lot of the time I feel like I know where the enemy is. Like we know where they are. I know if they're off the map and they're not in lanes, what objective they're at and why. Because the more you play the game, you guys know what objectives you would be going for, like in their position. So even though on paper I can see the application at very high levels and I can see that's very important, I also feel like most of the time, as long as you have a little bit of map awareness and you play this game for a little bit, you really know where people are most of the time, and when people are missing to get into a safe place rather than depress this ability on a minute cooldown.
Yeah.
So that's all. It's just that in games like League and Dota, I think it's harder maybe to keep track of the map, but because there's so many objectives and we play an objective-based game, we know where people are going to have to make a choice, with which objective to pick or which lane to go to. And if the map's empty, we know they're moving, and I don't know. So it didn't turn out to be as good as I wanted it to, but you're right. And Kevin, I'm glad you said something, because on paper it sounded like game-breaking good, and I thought about it.
Yeah. I hear you. I still love the concept behind doing the quest, though. It actually has kind of a World of Warcraft feel, like kill all these heroes to complete your quest. And I want to see more quest talents like it.
Yeah,
I love quests.
And I just like the potential I see from it is, on your way to objective, pop this, see who is out of position, late rotating, gank the crap out of them. But again, let's let the killing begin is just it's pretty darn amazing here. So we got U1 Axe at 1, let the killing begin at 4. Multi, what are we going with for 7?
7's a toss-up as well. We can choose either Recklessness. While Zul'jin is below 50% health, his basic attack damage is increased by 25%. Sounds pretty good, pretty straightforward. Another option could be Vicious Assault, though, which increases the number of bonus attack, the bonus damage your basic attacks have from Grievous Throw to 6. So previously it was 3, now it's your next 6. And then basic attacks against afflicted heroes reduces the cooldown of Grievous Throw by 2 seconds as a little bonus there, too. So, and definitely Vicious Assault, if you've taken Bone Slicer in 1, that just kind of makes sense to build off of there. I do like Vicious Assault, though, because you can really start to, in this point of the game, surprise people with the amount of damage you're doing. Especially if you're sitting around at 7 at half health and they don't know that you've taken this. It can be substantial. But naturally, Recklessness makes the most sense with this build in particular because, and I don't want to spoil which heroic we're taking or anything, but, it makes sense when you're low health to get the extra basic attack damage as well.
And I agreed with you 100%, and I still agree with you 90% on this until, again, that post Dixo had made here. So for they did math and science here. But according to the people on Reddit, really the math almost equals out here from the extra bonus damage being from 3 to 6 now from your Grievous Throw, stacked with the, balancing of keeping yourself below 50% health. And I have actually, in Quick Match now, I almost go Vicious Assault every time because this eliminates the fact of I don't have to worry about trying to tell my, my support player that I'm not in comms with when to heal me or when to not heal me. Every time I've asked, hey, don't heal me as much, I get 0 heals the rest of the game. Or they keep me topped off. I don't have to worry about that with this. And also early game, if somebody gets locked down with this, it's almost a guarantee kill. Whereas late game without this, with all your damage, it's going to be almost a guarantee kill anyways. But this is some nice extra damage early game. And again, like I had mentioned before, the extra 2 seconds, or not extra 2 seconds, but reducing the cooldown. It's more uptime on more characters if you happen to go the Bone Slicer. But Recklessness is definitely incredible if you, are at least in a duo with a support or, team league, stuff like that, where you can really balance that, the health game there.
Yeah, and Vicious Assault also helps you with, jungling and that sort of thing, which he's really good at doing as well. Note on that, though, that if you die to the third goat of the spear-throwing goats in the Diablo maps, then you have reenacted the Billy Goat Scruff.
Wow. that was worth it. That was good.
Yes, thank you.
Fair enough.
Saving that for weeks.
I'm going to sit down now. That was good.
All right. Well, level 10 here, we're going to go with, of course, Taz Dingo, because it's incredible and fun, and I've never had more enjoyment of dying in this game. It's great. Level 13 here, Mr. Slambo, what are we going with?
All right, so I think 13 is a very a situational place, not only because of the different things the tier brings, but mostly because of the decisions that you've made earlier in the build. So if there was not a strong healer or a hero at all, if you're in solo quick match, And at level 4, you took Troll's Blood, which increases the amount of his heal. I feel like at 13, you almost should continue on that path of getting Forest Medicine. Forest Medicine is going to allow regeneration to cast without being channeled. So before you have to stand still, now you can at least move. If you still take damage, though, you're going to lose the heal. So if you need that healing presence and you took the increased heal at 4, I think at 13 you need to continue that synergy going. And in fact, there are times that you might even continue to pick the heal at this tier. For me, though, I think what we're going with our build is the Eye of Zul'Jin. So whenever you hit an enemy hero, very specifically, not an enemy creep or any structure, when you hit a hero with one of his Grievous throws, his movement speed is increased 25% for 2 seconds. From an offensive perspective, that's going to give you 1 or 2 more auto attacks during a chase down or a team fight or someone who's backing up. And from a defensive perspective, you can use it to hit one of your Grievous throws and run away. And if we kind of go back to 7, where we kind of admit you can kind of go either way with Vicious Assault or Recklessness. And the Vicious Assault with the reduced cooldown on the Grievous throw and with the movement speed from landing the Grievous throw on a hero, again, you can really have that up quite a bit. The issue you do run into is, as Gizmo said, is mana, because it can be pretty mana dependent if you're spamming your W. But I actually kind of have settled into the build where I do go with a Vicious Assault at 7, and then at 13 I am taking the increased movement speed on the Grievous throw with the Eye of Zul'Jin, and I've found it defensive and offensive, like I've said. And it's just I think I just enjoy skill shot heroes more for whatever reason. So mid team fight, I enjoy trying to land my Grievous throw on the right person. So it's more of a rewarding play style thing for me too. That being said, this is a tough talent tier because you could also see Voodoo Shuffle, which removes all current root and slow effects, being useful against certain comps. That would also be something that you want to use more in a team setting, and very dependent on what you're playing against. If Zul'Jin is going to be your single source, your big source of damage, and you really want to protect him from a comp that's going to slow him down or hinder him. But I really think the battle is usually going to be between Eye of Zul'Jin and Forest Medicine. But for this build, we're going Eye of Zul'Jin.
Yeah, I agree. And this is also one of those tiers that really, almost no matter what build you're going, it's a decision on how your game's going.
I agree.
If you are having trouble with keeping that balance of low health to being healthy, Forest Medicine is great to get out of there quick. But if you're fine on that, Eye of Zul'Jin's amazing. The one thing, Voodoo Shuffle, I haven't really found myself needing to take because by this point I have my increased range, and I'm typically if your positioning is good, you can typically kind of stay out of the roots and slows. I
agree.
Don't get me wrong. There are several times where if I had Voodoo Shuffle, it would have saved me. I just haven't found myself taking it yet. So,
yeah, I think it's more niche for sure. Of the 3, it's probably the one that's going to be the most rare. But I can imagine a couple compositions where it might be very good. But it again, more who you're playing against, and you don't have much support on your team.
Yeah.
That might be the time. So
I took it against an Arthas and Malfurion, which made sense to me, but then I totally forgot to use it.
Hashtag welcome to Heroes.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Too many buttons. All right. TPK, level 16.
So for level 16, the pretty obvious choice, especially after the things we've already gone in this build, is going to be Ferocity. This increases the attack speed bonus of your Berserker by 40%. So activate Berserker, attack stuff a lot faster.
A lot.
With heavier hitting stuff and more attack speed
And
from
more
Let the
range.
Killing Begin, and more range and more damage from Grievous Throw, and it's really just kind of a rolling train that can't be stopped at this point.
Yes. It is awesome. And level 20 here, we're going with Amani Resilience, which is the buff to Tazdingo. And this, whenever you activate Tazdingo and it ends, you're going to heal for 50% of the damage you dealt during it, which is a lot of damage in most situations. So that is quite the heal. However, I've had... I can't figure out if this is an immediate heal or not, because
Yeah,
I've
it's
had
immediate.
moments. Okay, I just got nuked by Blizzard Orb or something. Because there's
Probably.
been a few times where like I have come back to almost full health and then instantly, just me standing and stuff because I Taz dingoed, die. So
Yeah,
Be
but
careful
what's
with
cool?
that.
Well, what's cool about it is that whenever you are doing the damage, when you click the well, and you're gonna see how much health you're going to heal. It's the same exact animation. So as you're just like you're watching that bar, like, all right, I'm at half HP, I'm at 3/4. Like it's just a really cool feeling once you hit 20 and you pop that ult, that reassurance that I'm going to get to this point when it's all over. It feels cool to me. So.
It is cool. All right. So just to recap here real quick, that is you want Axe, let the killing begin, Recklessness or Vicious Assault, Taz Dingo, 13 Situational, 16 Ferocity, and 20 Amani Resilience.
Yep.
So definitely, check this build out over the Free Hero weekend if you have not purchased. I'm going to say this right. Zul'jin. Okay, I really struggled with that one. Really struggled.
Well, people have trouble with the name, man. One of the big problems I've run into is a lot of people just calling him Zool for short. And guys, there's already a Zool.
Yeah,
There
already
is.
is. Well,
ZJ. That's what I'm going to call him.
Yeah,
Can I have-
ZJ I've used in typing, but
ZJ is
there's
fine.
issues with that one as well.
Yeah.
Can I just have one quick complaint about Zul'jin? Because I have one thing I didn't love it. His voice. It hasn't. It's like at times he's got the troll voice, and then it all of a sudden it just gets like demonic and deep, and it's weird. It's not the voice I was expecting. So I was a little disappointed. It just changes tone a lot. Like at some point he's really troll and chill, and then other times he's like rah, rah, like sounds like Manaroth from like the Warcraft 3 days. But okay, that's all I wanted to say. I feel better.
All right. So any last minute tips here? And again, guys, if you test this out a lot during the rotation this week, let us know what you're finding to fits you best for quick match, solo queue, or team league. Let us know what you like, because again, he's a new hero. Really interested to see what comes out of him, especially going into HGC here. But my last tip for this build would be, play safe to begin with. And this is more of a tip for people like me who, again, are overly aggressive on these type of heroes. Work on finishing that quest to get that range, and then from there, at that point, your first couple games, that's when you can work on balancing that 50% health. Keep yourself aware, stay aware of your surroundings, hang back, let your team set up opportunities for you, and then get in there and unleash hell, and then die until you get level 20. TBK, any last tips for new VJ players? Oh my gosh.
VJ?
Did it.
I even did it with the nickname.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Zul'jin.
Terrible. So, if you're a fan of Stitches, like I am a fan of Stitches, and you're fighting against an enemy Zul'jin, and the enemy Zul'jin Taz Dingoes, you just walk up to that troll, you gorge the crap out of him, and you completely waste his ultimate.
And kill him, probably, right?
And kill him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
like it.
gorge.
I like
Yep.
that.
All right. Multi?
My final tip is that I think he's really interesting in that I think he's a low skill floor, but high skill cap hero. And that's pretty rare, really, because, this kit's pretty straightforward. The build's pretty straightforward. It's easy to understand what's going on. But to really master him, this is a hero that doesn't have an escape. And the attack speed variance is actually kind of complicated, because we've talked about it in the past with Raynor, and how with Raynor you have to kind of master two different speeds of your stutter stepping, the one just normal and then the one with Inspire. This, I don't even know how many different speeds you'd have to like really feel out and master if you're going to be a master stutter stepper.
It's 100 different ones, and
Yeah,
then
there you go.
once you're talented at 16, it's 140 different ones. But whatever. Who knows?
And if you get stim droned, it's more, and it just So
it's technically.
So anyway, my point is, I do think he's going to see some play in the pro scene, just because there will be people that absolutely maximize this, and comps built around him that make the damage work. And but for people like us, kind of in the middle somewhere, it's a tough one to master, but an easy one to learn.
I'm now chat's least favorite because of my.
You've earned that. All right, let's just
I'll
keep
wear
it
it.
real.
I'll wear it. It's I will never get over it. Zarya. I have gotten that one. That was my last struggle.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
no more Zarya.
Jeez, guys.
All right.
I got one quick tip. My last tip. I'll be quick though. Do not have. Wait. If you are nano boosted by nano boosted. If you are stim droned by Lieutenant Morales, same spell, different games. Do not have your berserker racial passive on. Let's just keep that real right now. You will kill yourself so quick. Thank you,
quick.
TBK, for that. So all right,
so quick.
moving on.
Well, technically, you can't kill yourself, but it makes it very easy for.
You'll put yourself in a very bad situation.
You can Taz Dingo and stim.
Actually, that is what we did all last game before the show, so don't worry. So
The Cho'Gall felt that. We won't. They're in here maybe.
Dude, listen, guys. At least I messed up Nano Boost, but I do an Overwatch podcast, so that's
That's true.
Come on,
I can understand.
Two different things going on. God.
All right. So getting a little long here, but just so much good stuff to talk about. TBK, real quick, what do you got for your community content shout out?
So I promised everybody I would get this for you last episode, and it's here. This is Heroes Patch Notes, and it's actually heroespatchnotes.com. So I'll link it in chat, and I'll have it in the show notes. But this is a really cool site because it shows all of the Heroes Patch Notes, and you can filter by hero and by date and see all the changes. And Anubarak has had his health changed 5 times. So there's that. I looked it up just for you guys. But yeah, it's a really
It's
cool
less than I
site.
thought. It's less than I thought.
It is less than I thought, but that's still comparably to a lot of the others. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I need
that's
this
how
for
you're
over.
releasing, or just going over the release schedule of the heroes.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever.
All
It's
right.
pretty cool.
And then we have one quick listener question here. Multi, what do we got?
Let's see, Draven Dresden, what was your longest game ever? And he coupled this with, I forget exactly how long his picture was, but what was it, 40 something? I'm blanking.
I
I'll
thought
have
it
to
was
look
like
it up.
50 something.
It was ridiculous. I'll pull it up as we go here, but I can't seem to remember. I have to think it's somewhere in the high 30s for me. I haven't really had a crazy ridiculous one so far, but I'm aggressive, man. I go for the Nexus.
Yeah.
I just go for the core.
I feel like I've had a 45 to 48 minute, but the one I know for sure would be the Brawl. That was 42 minutes this week, so that one was rough.
42-minute brawl is like an hour-long normal game. So
One thing I want to mention here real quick. I know I just said we're getting long. With my experience brawls, I was against you earning hero experience in brawls because you don't own those heroes. However, I now have changed my theory, and I think this would be good, that if you own that hero and you play them in brawl, you earn experience for them. Because you own them, it's good to pick them. But you do not earn experience if you play a hero you do not own. Because why? You still have an advantage of playing heroes you do not own and getting to play them. So I think that is a fantastic trade-off. And please, Blizzard, that would be awesome.
And it's incentive to buy all the heroes.
Yeah.
So there you go, Blizzard. More money for you.
Word.
Yeah.
TBK, do you have a long game you know of?
56 minutes.
Woo!
wow.
Two Drazen.
Pre-buff Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Oh yeah.
Back when the Spider Queens, the Web Weaver summons were completely worthless. You would get stalled games all over the place. 56 minutes. It was very torturous, and I think we lost that one, which made it even worse. Which is hilarious because that's probably not quite close to the average, but that's about how long a lot of my League games when I played League used to last.
Yeah.
And so coming back from that is just like, oh my gosh, that was so long. Like when I have 15 to 22 minute Heroes games most of the time, it makes me thankful. # blessed.
Yep.
All
Draven
right.
Dresden's, by the way, was 55 minutes, so right about there.
Wow.
All right. And Zorn, Slambo, you got a long one, you remember?
Real quick though, just shout out to Draven Dresden and Totally Drunk from Heroes Never Die podcast. Woohoo! On the side note, mine's like 45 at the most. So nothing like you guys. Like that's horrible. I'm sorry.
Garden Terror had some real
I'm
long
just
games
sorry.
initially.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you to everyone that joined us live and listening to the podcast on whatever podcast device you choose. But Multi, where can we be reached at?
Oh, we can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can talk with us at our Discord. There's a sticky at the top of our Twitter, which is at Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm. Did I say that? We're on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us or tweet us or whatever, feedback or questions at Lords of the Storm at outlook.com. And by the way, the Angry Chicken read off my question to them this week, so that was kind of cool. So it feels cool to do that. I'm even a podcaster, and I was excited about it. So anyway, point is, you can also help out the show by leaving 5-star iTunes or positive Stitcher reviews or whatever you want in that regard. But also, if you really want to help the show even more, we do have our Patreon at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where you can give any amount that you feel is appropriate to support what we do, and we appreciate any help at all. Just having participants here with us in any shape or fashion.
That we do. You can also find us individually, myself on Twitter at GizmoZord, as well as Twitch, and also Convert to Raid Presents, the World of Warcraft podcast about all things Blizzard. I think that's a good way to summarize it. Heavy on the World of Warcraft, but we do cover a little bit of everything now. And Multi, where can you be reached?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm on this other show. I don't know, what's it called, Zorns? I forget.
Wait, what's up? The Cavalry.
It's called The Curver, and you can follow it on Twitter at The Curver Show.
I forget. We gotta get work on that.
I know.
Wow.
All right. TPK, where can you be found?
I don't even know what to say after that.
No one gets it's an inside thing. Forget
It's like
it.
mouth. That's like mouth diarrhea.
That's what we do at the Cavalry.
That's what the show is.
That's all it is, dude.
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord or twitch.tv/TBKZord, where I will be See, you got you're screwing me up now.
We're all
This is
melted
terrible.
down. This is awful.
Yes. Where I will be casting Chair League starting here January 30th. We usually do it Monday and sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes Thursday nights. Whenever we get the chance, me and Josh, and maybe I can get Slambo. Maybe Slambo will come and cast a few Chair League games with me.
I want to cast some more HOTS this year.
Yeah, should do it. So definitely check those out when the Chair League season starts.
Absolutely. And Slambo, where this is what happens when we go over an hour and 30 minutes.
It's
Our
terrible.
words are very
This is
difficult.
so bad.
Where can
I'm loving it. I don't care.
Where
This is
can
great.
you be reached?
I just feel like at this point we're just devolved into noises. You can reach me at Slambo TV on Twitter, at the Cavalry Show as well with Multizord. And then at the Overcasters, which is usually my team of me and End Boss. We do some Overwatch casting, but I definitely enjoy casting HOTS. I love it, and I would love to join you, TBK, and maybe I'll talk to Super Jova and get my own match or two this year. We'll see what we can do. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm sure we'll have you on again here now that you're getting hooked on the heroes again. But guys, that's going to do it for the show. Make sure to stick around afterwards for post-show games here. I want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Zord, for helping support the show. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Woo, we made it and kept it under an
Somehow.
hour 45.
Oh my God.